So today we're going to take a look at what's going to happen if the Balkan countries unite in the modern day. This union is going to include countries like Greece, Bulgaria, Albania, Romania, and all of the post-Yugoslav countries. First of all, this union is very unlikely to happen, as we all know how the Balkan countries all hate each other. And 10 minutes after the creation of the Balkan Union, there are going to be more than 100 civil wars inside the country. But yeah, let's see what happens if they unite in the modern day. Now, I could have included Turkey in the Balkan Union, but most of their lands are in the Anatolian part. So yeah, we're not going to be including Turkey. Now, before we get into the video, I want to say that super thanks as well as the memberships are now available. You guys can support me a lot. But now let's get right into the video. Now, this country is extremely unstable, probably the most unstable country in the world. But just to give them an advantage, we can see that the leader of this country is very capable, who is now trying his best to stabilize the country. And if we want to see a stable Balkan Union, we're going to skip 10 years into the future, where now we are going to assume that the Balkan Union is a very stable country. And if you're wondering what the capital city of this country is, it's either Belgrade or Bucharest. Now, this country is also pretty powerful, as there are countries like Romania, Serbia, and Greece in this union. For the first military campaign, we can see that the Balkan Union is now recruiting troops from all over the country, and it seems like they are ready for their first invasion. This invasion is going to be of Moldova, who is not in the best position to fight the Balkan Union. Immediately, we can see that the Balkan troops are now pushing into Moldova, and even though it's mountainous, they are making some slower gains. We can see that the capital city was taken, and slowly but surely we can see that the Balkan Union has taken out all of Moldova. In a peace treaty, we can see that all of Moldova got completely annexed, and this was not the biggest of the victories for the Balkan Union, but at least now they know that their soldiers are united as they all work together to take Moldova. And the invasion of Moldova was not to gain any land, but they just wanted to see if their soldiers were united, as once again we all know how the Balkan countries hate each other. So yeah, anyways, with the invasion of Moldova now being a success, we can now see that the Balkan Union is once again going to militarize their country. We're going to skip 5 more years into the future, and once again they are going to be recruiting more and more troops. This time the army is going to number at around 100,000 troops, and it seems like they are ready for their second invasion, and this invasion is going to be of Hungary. Now, before the arrival of these troops, we can see that the Hungarians are actually pushing into the Balkan Union, but not making too much gains. We can see that the Hungarians eventually were able to take all of these parts, but now all of the Balkan Union's army has arrived on the front lines. They immediately pushed back the Hungarian troops all the way to their borders, and the Balkan troops are now pushing into Hungary in hopes of getting to Budapest. We can see that after a decisive military campaign, Budapest was taken, and with the fall of their capital city, we can see that the remaining parts of Hungary just go ahead and surrender, and this was another decisive victory for the Balkan Union. Once again, in a peace negotiation, we can see that all of Hungary got completely annexed, and now the Balkan Union is looking pretty buffed, and I can assure you that they don't have any civil wars going on, and they're totally not divided up like this. Now, once again, with the invasion of Hungary being a complete success, the Balkan Union is going to be more confident this time, as they muster up another army of 50,000 troops, and they are ready for another invasion. But yeah, I should have mentioned the fact that all alliances like NATO, CSTO, the EU, or the UN, they do not exist. I mean, if they would exist, they would not let these countries to expand. So yeah, keep that in mind. So now the Balkan Union is ready for their invasion, which is going to be of Austria. Now, unlike the Hungarian invasion, the Balkan troops were already stationed on the border, so we are not going to see Austria pushing into the Balkan Union. We can see that the troops on the border now push in, and the Austrians are unable to push them back. And because this was a quick offensive, we can see that unfortunately Vienna was taken, and with the fall of their capital city, the Austrians have now lost their morale. The Balkan troops now push further in, but finally, we can see that the remaining parts of Austria just surrender, and this was another victory for the Balkan Union. In a peace treaty, we can see that all of these parts of Austria were completely annexed, and the remaining country of Austria is now a vassal state to the Balkan Union. But the reason why the Balkan Union did not completely annex all of Austria is because they don't want to have a border with Germany, who is a very strong country. So yeah, I should also mention the fact that the Balkan Union likes to expand. That's pretty much their favorite thing to do. If you haven't noticed already, they've invaded a lot of countries, and they want to invade more and more countries. Anyways, with that invasion, we can see that the Balkan Union now declares war on Slovenia. No, that's Slovakia. Slovenia is already in the Union. But unfortunately for the Slovenians, their capital city is right on the border with the Balkan Union, and we can see that the Balkan troops immediately push in, taking the capital city, which leads to Slovakia's surrender. In a peace treaty, we can see that all of of Slovakia got completely annexed. But this was pretty much their last invasion for now, as we are going to skip 20 or 30 years into the future. And in all of these years, the Balkan Union further militarized all of their country. And as of now, they are a very powerful country in the world. And if you want to know why they militarized all of their country, well, that's because they were preparing for a very major invasion, which was going to be of Italy. Now, Italy is the strongest country which they've been up against by far. And it's not going to be easy for the Balkan Union to take all of Italy. So yeah, let's see what happens. I should also mention the fact that the Balkan Union's navy is by far the best navy in the Mediterranean, because they control about 20% of the entire Mediterranean. So yeah, keep that in mind. Anyways, we can see that the Balkan troops are now pushing into Italy, and Italy was not prepared. So the Balkan troops were able to take Venice, which is a major city for the Italians. We can see that the Balkan navy also comes into action, and they surround all of Italy, and they are starting to make multiple naval landings. Essentially, we can see that the Balkan navy was able to make all of these naval landings. We can see that the troops in the south now push around, meeting with the other troops in Sicily, and there is this kind of front line. The troops in Sardinia push around, taking out the island, and we can see that the troops in the north also push around, securing more and more regions. Eventually, we can see that these troops push up, but now we can see that the Italians recruit troops from all over the country, and they have also mobilized their entire army. We can see that they push out all of the Balkan troops from the south, regaining control of all of this region, and they eventually were able to push out the Balkan troops from up here, and the Balkan troops are completely pushed out. But now we can see that the Balkan Union also recruits troops from all over the country, and all of these troops are now sent to the front lines, including all of their navy, and the Balkan Union is using 50% of all of their military assets because they severely underestimated Italy. With the arrival of these troops, we can see that all of the lost territories are now retaken. The navy once again comes into action, this time making even more naval landings. We can see that these troops push around, and they all meet each other, while the troops in Sicily take out all of Sicily, as it was cut off from mainland Italy. The main army in the north is now pushing down the coast and taking the coast of the Adriatic Sea, and now we can see that all of these troops have met up, and now they are going towards Rome. We can see that the Balkan troops push in, and the Battle of Rome ends in a decisive Balkan victory. And with the fall of Rome, we can see that the remaining parts of Italy just go ahead and surrender. In a peace treaty, we can see that all of these regions of Italy were completely annexed, but the Balkans were not able to vassalize Italy, as they are still a very powerful nation, and it would be hard for the Balkan Union to take control of all of Italy. But yeah, as of now, the Balkan Union has expanded in a very good manner, and they now have their final invasion, and this invasion will not take place in Europe, but instead this invasion is going to be of Tunisia. And if you already don't know, the Balkan Union is trying to control the Mediterranean Sea. So yeah, let's see. We can see that the Balkan Navy makes a naval landing here. They push around, the capital city Tunis was taken, and the remaining parts of Tunisia just go ahead and surrender. And in a peace treaty, we can see that all of the coastline parts of Tunisia were completely annexed, and the remaining country of Tunisia is now a vassal state to the Balkan Union. And this is the Balkan Union at their peak. But now comes the interesting part, where the Balkan Union is now going to be divided up, as the king of the Balkan Union is now dead. Basically, he had 4 children, and the empire is going to be divided up, as the children don't want to fight a civil war. So yeah, now let's take a look at these divisions. Wow, this looks horrible. But yeah, if we take a look at these divisions, we can see that the oldest son got the original Balkan lands. The second oldest son got most of the precious lands with this vassal state of Austria. The third oldest son got all of the Romanian parts, as well as some parts of Bulgaria. And the youngest son got himself all of Greece. And with that, he also has control of this vassal state of Tunisia, as well as mainland Tunisia. So yeah, this is going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what you guys want to see in the future. And thank you for watching.